Welcome to Season 3 of the Languages Pedagogy Podcast, where language learning meets innovation, culture, and pedagogy. I'm Mike, your host, and together we'll explore groundbreaking strategies, challenge traditional methods, and empower educators and learners alike. So whether you're a teacher, a student, or a language enthusiast, get ready to dive into insightful discussions, expert interviews, and practical tools that will transform the way you teach and learn languages. So grab your headphones and let's get started. Imagine walking into a room filled with people speaking different languages. At first, it feels like a blur of unfamiliar sounds. Words flowing in and out of conversations, intertwining like waves in an ocean. But suddenly, something magical happens. Your brain tunes in. It recognizes patterns. It finds structure where there once was chaos. It identifies familiar words and phrases, pulling together meaning almost effortlessly. And then, in a fraction of a second, you switch. Maybe you answer in one language, then seamlessly translate in another. Maybe your brain instinctively adjusts to the rhythm, tone, and emotion of the person speaking to you. Maybe the words themselves feel different depending on the language you're using, as if the very fabric of your emotions shifts with the language itself. That's the power of bilingualism. It's more than just communication. It's a different way of expressing the world. But what if bilingualism is also a hidden superpower for mental health? What if the ability to speak, think, and feel in multiple languages actually makes you more resilient, more emotionally intelligent, and even more mentally strong than those who only speak one language? Could bilingualism be a tool for managing anxiety, processing trauma, and even preventing mental decline? Today, we're going to explore one of the most fascinating, deeply personal, and scientifically backed discussions in language learning. This episode is called Bilingualism and Mental Health. Does speaking multiple languages make you stronger? And in the following minutes, we'll explore the following. What happens in the bilingual brain and how it shapes emotional intelligence. The neuroscience behind bilingualism and mental resilience. How switching languages can help regulate emotions, reduce stress, and even change the way we feel. The connection between bilingualism, identity, and self-perception. How multilingualism builds mental flexibility and why that matters for mental health. Why bilinguals tend to be better at handling trauma, uncertainty, and emotional shifts. The link between bilingualism and preventing cognitive decline. Does it protect against Alzheimer's? That's a really good one there, right? How language learning can become a therapeutic tool for emotional healing and self-discovery. This episode is not just about language. It's about you. It's about the way you think, the way you feel, and the way your mind processes emotions. It's about how bilingualism doesn't just change the way you speak, it changes the way you experience the world. So take a deep breath, relax, and let's unlock the psychological power of bilingualism. What if I told you that bilingualism doesn't just make you smarter, it actually rewires your brain? For decades, scientists have studied how learning and using multiple languages physically changes the brain. And what they've discovered is nothing short of extraordinary. Brain scans show that bilingual individuals have denser, stronger neural connections in areas responsible for problem solving, emotional regulation, memory retention, cognitive flexibility. Imagine that. This is amazing. So bilingualism literally strengthened the brain. Yes, this is a fact. But how does this connect to mental health? The answer lies in how bilingualism affects emotional processing, stress management, and resilience. Imagine you're going through a stressful situation. Maybe you've just had a difficult conversation, or you're experiencing anxiety. For a monolingual person, there is only one way to process that emotion: through the lens of their single language. But for a bilingual person, what happens there? You have a choice. Studies show that switching languages can actually reduce the intensity of emotions. Yes, this is true, scientifically proved. When bilinguals speak about difficult or painful experiences in their second language, they often feel less emotionally overwhelmed, more in control of their thoughts, better able to analyze the situation rationally. It's almost as if speaking in a different language acts as an emotional buffer, creating just enough distance between the person and their emotions to process more effectively. How they process them more effectively, actually. Yes, this is why bilingual people often switch languages when talking about trauma or deep emotions, whether they realize it or not. Now, think about it. Have you ever noticed how some feelings just feel different in another language? For some, saying I love you in one language might feel casual and effortless, while in another, it feels raw and deeply personal. For others, expressing anger in their native tongue feels intense and overwhelming, but in a second language, it feels calmer, more structured, less chaotic. And you know what? This is because language isn't just a communication tool. It's an emotional filter. And this ability to switch perspectives, to reframe emotions, to create emotional distance when needed, is what makes bilingualism a powerful tool for mental health. Resilience is the ability to bounce back from setbacks, to handle uncertainty, to navigate challenges and with mental strength. And guess what? Bilinguals tend to have higher resilience than monolinguals. Why? Because switching between languages means constantly adapting to new ways of thinking. Every time you switch languages, your brain does this: processes information from a different cultural and emotional perspective, uses different neural pathways to structure thoughts, forces itself to be more flexible, adaptable, and open to change. Amazing, right? So this kind of cognitive flexibility extends beyond language. It affects how bilingual people handle stress, uncertainty, and even trauma. A study from the University of Chicago found that bilinguals are better at managing anxiety and uncertainty because their brains are used to constantly navigating ambiguity. For a bilingual mind, uncertainty is normal. Shifting perspectives is natural. This ability to mentally shift gears makes bilinguals better equipped to the following. Amazing. Handle emotionally complex situations. Adapt to change more easily. Understand and empathize with different viewpoints. And now, perhaps the most remarkable discovery about bilingualism and mental health. Bilingualism can actually delay the onset of cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Studies show that bilingual people develop dementia 4 or 5 years later than monolinguals. The brain's ability to switch between languages builds a cognitive reserve, protecting against aging. Even in those who develop Alzheimer's, bilinguals experience slower memory loss compared to monolingual patients. In other words, speaking multiple languages keeps your brain younger and longer. And before we head into the final part of this episode, I just want to remind you that new episodes drops every Monday and Friday, so make sure to tune in weekly for your dose of thought-provoking conversations. You can find our show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon Music. Don't forget to pay a visit to our website, MikeEnglishOnline.com, where you will find tons of resources for your daily learning or teaching. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and follow us for more. Bilingualism is not just about learning words. It's about building a stronger, more adaptable, more emotionally intelligent mind. It's about mental flexibility, emotional regulation, cultural empathy, and cognitive resilience. So the next time you switch languages, remember, you're not just speaking. You're rewiring your brain. You're building emotional strength. You're shaping the way you experience the world. And that is a superpower. And don't forget, keep learning, keep enjoying, and never stop.